All right, everybody. How you guys doing today? Hope y'all are well. This week in my intuition class, we are going to talk about, can intuition be learned? A lot of you have asked me about clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and can I learn all the clairs? So we're going to start working on that this week. We're going to do that in August in Pathfinder. So if you're not part of Pathfinders, jump online right now, jump onto my Pathfinders group right now. Let's see where we're going. That's held on Wednesdays. All right. Lucky you. Well, that reminds me, astrology on Thursday, we're talking about Jupiter, how to harness the power of Jupiter in your birth chart, how to get lucky. I like that. All right. Transmute. Transformation. Friendship. Wow. Okay. Somebody here is changing from friends into lovers. What I just said about getting lucky. Somebody is changing from friends into lovers. And I feel like it comes from a different place. It comes from like a lesson learned in a different part of your life. But like it unlocks the connection between the two of you. It transmutes the relationship. There's been something blocking the romantic connection between the two of you. And friendship is a good foundation, don't get me wrong, but it's like there was definitely something in the way of this becoming more, and now it's opening up. We have Lionsgate this week, 888. On Thursday, we have the new moon in Leo as I'm talking. We have Mercury going retrograde in Virgo. Mercury retrograde in Virgo, I always think about Mercury retrogrades as an inner dialogue as opposed to Mercury is how we express ourselves, but Mercury internally, and it does rule Virgo. So there's something here about the details or the process by which you become connected to another person, I feel like needs to get reviewed or reworked. Like something that you're doing is keeping them at bay. You may not know it. You may think this is a really good thing to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you might really think that being very dynamic or showing them your power or something will make them want you more, but it's like kind of having the opposite effect. All right. 7 of Pentacles. What you've been doing for a long time, 4 of Swords is keeping you out in the cold. 5 of Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles and the Judgment card. So this is going to be moving forward rather quickly once you reverse this. There's something about not being so, so sure of yourself. There's something very endearing in being, a little more authentic. You can be sure of yourself. You can have self-confidence and things like that. But I almost feel like this person wants to see a little bit of your, not weaknesses, but a little bit more of what you are questioning in your life, or, showing them behind the curtain a little bit more, being a little more vulnerable. Okay. A little bit more, having a lack of sureness about certain things in your life. What are you struggling with right now? And I don't mean to like take you down a road where you're sort of like, oh, I'm pathetic and you're the best thing in my life. I don't really mean that at all. What I mean is just like a little bit of behind the curtain vulnerability. Okay. So not so sure of yourself in every single area, because I feel like you might have alienated them a little bit by, well, they're like, well, then what do they need me for? Right? What do they want me around for? You're fine by yourself. Okay. Oh, I knew that 5 of Swords was coming. 5 of Pentacles. Now we have the 5 of Swords. I think this is a way of keeping people at bay. This is a defense mechanism. that you have that I think you've developed over time. Like, I'm good. I don't need anybody. I don't need any of you guys. I'm fine on my own. Magician. I can do whatever I want. Here's the Empress. This is about softening that. Again, the word vulnerability is coming up for me. There's the Sun card. And Leo is just like about being very open. Queen of Pentacles, Three of Cups, being celebrated for this. Seven of Swords, the World, and the Eight of Swords. So you're definitely leaving behind some old mindsets. We have going to be talking, like I said, about Jupiter, harnessing the power of Jupiter in your life. Jupiter is our luck. It's our ability to expand. It's our how we, if Gemini is the nuts and bolts of information, then Jupiter is the what does it mean? Okay, Jupiter is the philosophy. It's about pulling together different disparate pieces of information to create some kind of worldview. And I feel like you might be going through some kind of transformation in your life where your worldview might be changing. And in the past, you might have kept people at bay thinking that radical independence is also a coping mechanism. I don't need anybody. Okay. Radical independence. Now, this could be the person you're dealing with, or this could be you. But there's something here about being interdependent, learning about what that means. And I talk a lot on this channel about codependence and narcissism and unhealthy patterns that keep us from true love, keep us from really loving ourselves and from loving other people. And I feel like one of those is showing up in this reading, which is, I'm fine on my own. I don't need anybody. And when we have radical independence, that can come from a childhood of having to do everything for yourself, having to be the one that has your back. And one of the greatest parts of a really good relationship is that you're interdependent, that you're a fully functioning human being, they're a fully functioning human being, and they, at the same time, they have your back and you have their back. It's not that they're lacking something and so you have to kind of shore that up and they have to shore you up. It's like, no, this is now the lesson. This is the turn of the lesson that says, I'm good, but I really want someone in my life. I really want somebody else, some other person to enjoy my life with, to go on trips with, travel with, have fun with, play games with, be goofy and silly with. I really want that. And Jupiter energy, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about optimism and expansion and all of that. So how do you harness the power of Jupiter in your life? And, where it is in your birth chart, what sign it's in, that's going to give you a sense of like your natural, the natural optimism in that part of your life, in that energetic expression, meaning the sign it's in. It's going to teach you a lot about what you think, what you might be lucky in, because this is Jupiter here, what you might be lucky in, what you might not be lucky in. And sometimes, if we're learning things as we're growing up, we're learning about how to be dependent. And maybe that was a value in your family that was really supported, that the more independent you are, the more we think you're great. And what's hiding behind that is a little bit of a sad thing, if it's not handled well or if it's out of balance, that says, don't come to me for help. You need to do everything on your own. And so some of you, I know I fall into this category, some of you who are hyper independent can have trouble in relationships, very much a defensive kind of thing. Like, I don't want to have to rely on anybody else. That's going to make me weak. That's going to make me either seem weak or make me feel weak or make me feel like I can't do it. And then I won't value myself. But part of what this learning experience is seeing how the lie you're telling yourself about that is really holding you back, especially as it relates to love. And part of what we're doing, part of what we're learning right now is really to be vulnerable and joyful and capable without being crippled by too much hyper independence or too much codependence, too much dependence that if this person doesn't love me, I'll dissolve into a puddle of goo. Like there won't be anything left of me if this doesn't work out. And it's like, either way, it's going to work out fine. Either way, you'll be fine. There's a level of independence. There's a level of feeling good in one's own skin that doesn't rely on you having a partner or not having a partner. And if you're in a partnership that isn't good, but the fact that you're in the partnership, just that fact is the thing that keeps you there, it's sort of like time to reevaluate that, because Jupiter is going to go retrograde, but not until October. Okay, in Gemini, and Gemini is the sign of lovers. So Jupiter going retrograde in the sign of lovers, its opposite sign, says it's time to get really clear on what do I feel like when I'm on my own, or vice versa. If I'm so used to being on my own, how can I then be in a partnership or even be in friendship? Okay, how can I do that without losing myself, without swamping myself with these old patterns? So some of you who have had, narcissists in your life or had toxic love partners, and you're on your own and you feel better because, it is a trauma response to be hyper independent, to be, I don't need anybody, or I'm not ever vulnerable to another person because that will open me up. It's like now you're being asked, if you have been on your own for a long time, now you're really being asked, hey, can you still be you without getting swamped with these old patterns? Have you healed them? Or have you just shoved them in a closet, and when you're on your own, it's like they don't show up because I'm just focusing on me and I'm focusing on my own life. When you're in a partnership, can you be this Venus energy? Can you be the Venus energy, and can you still embrace life and still know what it means to be, I'm okay on my own. This is a partnership that I have. That's something in my life, but it's not who I am. It's one of the things that makes up the definition of me in this moment in time, but it's not the whole of who I am. Some of you who are leaving relationships may be struggling with that, right? It's very challenging to be in a long-term relationship and then all of a sudden find yourself without that definition of you. If you have made that I'm in a married couple a definition of who you are, then if you're leaving a relationship, one of the reasons that people stay in those relationships too long is that they don't know who they are without them. And so Jupiter in Gemini is the Lover's card, like I said, and this is about making decisions. And, Jupiter going into retrograde is going to be about ourselves. What is good about ourselves on our own, regardless of whether we're coupled or not coupled. And is that stable over the course of time? Am I still myself? Am I still a healthy self? We'll clarify that a little bit. Am I healthy self, Queen of Pentacles, with or without a partner? So right now, I feel like that's one of the stories that is coming up here, that you're closing out of a cycle of a lie you're telling yourself that has held you back as it relates to a certain marital status or lack thereof. Okay. And even using the term lack thereof, I'm like, oh God, that's lack mentality, right? So what are we telling ourselves about these statuses, right? It is. And, part of Sagittarius, opposite of Gemini and Sag believe in truth. And it's like, okay, that's one of those things that whether we like it or not, a lot of people in our culture, and it is a past thing, I believe this is something that's going away, that people who have partners have a status level from it, as opposed to being single, and now I feel like that's really changing. I feel like we're going to a place where it's not accomplishment to have a wedding. Like, that's not an accomplishment, even though we're like so excited for people and we're really like, congratulations and everything like that. It's great to move the relationship to that level, or to that level of depth, or whatever it is. And it, but let's not put people on some kind of pedestal and then take them off of it when those things don't work out. Could you see that someone who was divorcing a narcissist was really graduating, right? Really moving into a higher level. I hate the hierarchical stuff, but I'm going to use it because that's what it is, right? That's where we are. So it's just really about knowing who you are, regardless of that connection. And some of you are unhooking from connections that you've been in for a long time that have been on the inside 5 of Pentacles, but on the outside, there's been this show of like, everything's fine. Everything's normal. And I remember having that I use that phraseology because I remember growing up where things were not okay in my house. My father was quite ill, dying, in fact, but putting on a good face of things was very important to my family. Like, things always had to be, everything's fine, everything's normal. Even though things weren't fine. And it was a lot of energy to express that kind of mask when there was a lot of people who were close to me who damn well knew it wasn't okay. They didn't know how to say to me, like, it's really okay to not be okay. They're kids, right? It was okay to not be okay. And so I feel like there is some kind of shift here, either going into connection or moving out of connection. And what does that mean in terms of your joy, your happiness? So I know there's plenty of times that I was miserable when I was getting into a relationship, and I was elated when I was getting out, and vice versa. Okay? So happiness doesn't really have anything to do with whether it's in or out. And this is really the question here. It's like, how can I be aligned with the person I am becoming, regardless of what's around me? And I'm not even really talking about relationship status. I'm talking about in general. How can I just maintain my North Star? How can I align myself with my North Star, no matter what the turbulence is around me? And that doesn't mean you're ignoring it, like everything's fine, everything's perfect, like I was just saying. You're not. You're like, okay, this is a challenge. Okay, this is that, this is that, this is this. But this is about harnessing your power, harnessing your grounded nature, your connection to spirit, your directional facility, your ability to direct yourself forward, and your ability to see what's holding you back. So all of those are coming up within this reading, all of those themes. Okay, so clarify the 3 of Cups for me. 6 of Wands. There's a celebration here. 2 of Swords, 10 of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords. Again, this is the inner versus the outer. What am I saying here with this 2 of Swords? It's sort of like, you can be super joyful internally, and then maybe other people you're not telling anybody about something. I almost feel like some of you are transmuting or shifting from one to the other, and you're super happy about it, but you're not telling anybody about what's going on. That's the reverse of like, oh, things suck, and I'm not telling anybody about it. Okay? Things are great, or things are gonna be great. And it's like, maybe I don't want to say it out loud. What if I'm superstitious? What if the other shoe's going to drop? What if? That's what these 9 of Swords, 8 of Swords, and 7 of Swords are here. This is all the mindset gymnastics that go on that says, ooh, okay, better not tell anybody about my success, because that mean it will go away. Ooh, we're in this relationship and it's failing. Better not tell anybody because they'll think badly of me. I really feel like we're going into a much more transparent world and a transparent experience, which is really what this is showing me. This Judgment card and this 8 of Wands. So no matter where you are on this continuum, There's something here for you in terms of Queen of Pentacles, anchoring yourself. This is really asking you to maintain a constant temperature, maintain a constant, it's like a constant variable, like being on the ocean, like you're moving with the water. You're not fighting it. If you're fighting it, then that's going to be an unpleasant experience. This is about, no matter what's going on, finding your core, finding your center, and letting things be what they are instead of fighting against them. Okay, the fighting, the 7 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, fighting against them. The Moon, 5 of Wands, 3 of Swords, and the Hierophant. I am feeling like some of you are moving on from relationships that haven't, or you're dealing with someone who's moving on from a relationship that has been very challenging internally, but it looked good on paper. They don't play the games on paper. All right. So it's time to shift, transmute, transform into this next chapter. That's what the World card is. It's like the closure, the ending to a chapter that may or may not, whether it was happy or not happy, we are now moving on to something else. Okay, we've got the Moon card here. We are in the energy of the new moon in Leo. We have the Hierophant card. Jupiter just left Taurus, moved into Gemini. So there's some kind of conflict here, whether or not, I just get the feeling that some of you are fighting this next chapter. Whatever wants to show up in your life for whatever reason. Okay, so let's keep going on this. I'm going to go deeper into this reading. If you're fighting some kind of next chapter, let's see where we're going here. Okay, and then how you can work with it. We'll look at what you don't see coming too. All right, link is below if you want to continue on with me. I'll see you over there. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.